Alright, we're going to use, in this example, a TI-84 Plus Silver Edition. Okay, and the very first thing you want to do is to learn how to turn it. Well, let's talk about first the second and the alpha. Each of these keys has got three different possibilities. If you hit this key, you get program. If you hit second program, you get draw. And if you hit alpha program, you get the letter C. So each of these keys, if you notice, has something written on it and then something above to the left and right, which are in blue and green. So if you want to turn something on, you just hit the on key. If you want to turn it off, you got to hit second on in order to get it to turn off. Alright. If you want to get to the home screen, you just hit second mode or second quit. Second quit will get you to the standard home screen. Now let's say we want to add 20 divided by 3 plus 5. Now if we type 20 divide 3 plus 2, we know that 20 divided by 5 should be 4. Well, we don't get the right answer. The reason is your calculator is not letting you, does not know that you want the 2 in the denominator. So if you're going to do that fraction, you got to hit 20 divide parentheses 3 plus 2. Your calculator doesn't know what your denominator should be, so you have to put a parentheses around it if your denominator or your numerator have more than one term. Alright? Now let's say you want to type in negative 4 plus 6 subtract 2. Well, the negative key is here, so you hit negative 4, add 6, subtract 2. Now when you look at this, notice the negative key is written smaller and higher, and the subtraction key is written lower and wider. So there is a difference between subtraction and negative. And so negative 4 plus 6 subtract 2 does give you 0. Now let's say you want to add 1/2 plus 1/4. So you hit 1 divide 2, add 1 divide 4, and your calculator will give you a decimal. Now if you want to convert it to a fraction, all you have to do is hit math, and then 1. And when you hit enter, it takes your answer and converts it to a fraction. So you can do that for any fraction as long as your denominator is less than 10,000. So it can do a lot of stuff. Let's say you want to type in 0.0005. Okay, that's a very small number. It's 5 10,000ths or 1 over 2,000. Now it'll be written as 5e negative 4. That's your scientific notation there. Okay, so whenever you see the capital E with a number after it, that means times 10 to that power. So that means 5 times 10 to the negative 4. You can actually do 5 times 10 raised to the negative 4, and you get the same answer. Alright. Absolute value, that's found by hitting math, arrow to the right, 1. And now you can type in whatever you want, negative 3 or negative 5 or whatever you want to type in there for absolute value. Exponent, your exponent is found by typing in 5. You hit this key that I call the hat key right there below clear. Hat 3, so that does 5 cubed. Okay. Now you can type in any exponent you want. Now square root, you have to hit second x squared. Second x squared. Second x squared, 25. Square root of 25 is 5. Now let's say you want to take a more unusual root like the third root. Well, you have to type whatever root you want and then hit math 5, and that will change it to that root. So third root of 8 is 2. If you want to do the fifth root, you do 5 math 5, and 32, that gives you 2. Okay, so you can do 7 math 5, that's the seventh root of 200, gives you some number. Alright, so you can do any root you want. You can also type in, if you want to do the third root, you can type in 8 hat and put in parentheses 1 divide 3. And the 8 to the 1/3 is the same thing as the third root. Now let's say you want to type in a number, 240 divided by 102. Okay, and you get this long decimal. Now let's say you want to take that answer and you want to say 1 divided by that number there. So 1 divide, and now to get that number right there, you don't want to type it all over again, just hit second negative and you'll get ANS, and that tells you that your previous answer is now written there, and you just asked to take 1 divided by that number and it gave you this answer. Now let's say you've typed in something like 36 plus 2 times parentheses 4 squared subtract 1. Notice when you have something in the exponent, your TI-84C plus, you have to arrow to the right to get out of the exponent. Alright, so let's say we hit enter, and now we realize, oh wait a minute, I should have typed in a 5, not a 4. Well, you can do second enter, pulls up your previous entry, and you go back to the 4, and you just type a 5 right over the top of it. And that will do your calculations with a 5 now. So if you had to keep changing it to maybe a 6 or a 7, you could do second enter, type in a 6. You could do that all day. Alright, so the more complicated entries are, if you just need to change one number, do second enter. Alright, so now basic graphing, let's do y equals, and let's type in 3x subtract 1, so you hit 3, you hit your x key right there below mode, subtract 1. Okay, and now under y2 I'm going to type in x to the second power, x hat 2, and my viewing window, it's all over the place, but I can get a standard window by typing in minus 10 to 10 and minus 10 to 10. Your x min, x max are the how far left and right you go. X scale is how far apart each tick mark is. The y min, y max is how low and how high you go, and y scale is how far each tick mark is. The rest of this stuff, just leave it alone. So now when you hit graph, it's a 10 by 10 window in every direction. Now the normal way that you can get a standard window is by hitting zoom 6. You hit zoom 6, it gives you a standard window 10 by 10 in every direction. Now there's my Y1 in blue, and my Y2 is about to come down, it's in red. Alright, now if I want to zoom in, I hit zoom 2, and now you move this little cursor. If you move left or right, up or down, you see the little cursor there. You can move it to whatever you want to zoom into. Let's say we want to zoom into that point right there. So move it to it and then hit enter. And now your new screen will have that one spot that you wanted to look at as the center of your new screen. So see right there. Now you can go back to zoom 6, standard window. And we can do zoom 3, which will be zooming out. Let me show you how that works. So you hit zoom 3, enter, and that creates a larger window. Okay, and so you've zoomed out, and so now everything's a lot tighter. Now if you want to zoom back in with a controlled zoom, do what's called zoom or Z box. Zoom 1, and you move to the left, move to your imaginary screen that you want your new screen to be. Find the upper left corner and hit enter. Then move over as far as you need to for your imaginary screen. Don't hit enter here. Move down, and now hit enter on the bottom right corner. And now you've got a new screen and it should be a lot better because now you can see clearly where it crosses, where these two guys intersect. That's called Z box. Now if you want to have the X values be decimals as you move along, you can hit Z zoom 4. Now let's say you want to find an X value. Just hit second trace 1, and now you can type in any value you want and it'll tell you what the Y value is. And you can just do this all day. Well, you can only ask it something that's on the screen. So I couldn't ask it 14 because my window doesn't go out to 14. So maybe -2, +4, 4.5, -3. So anything that's along this x-axis I can ask it. Alright, so if I want to find the x-intercept, let's get rid of the two guys here and let's type in, I don't know, x squared plus, let's do -x squared. -x squared plus 4. Alright, so if I want to find these x-intercepts, I hit second trace 2. Now I've got to move to the left of one of my x-intercepts, so I move to the left of it, enter. Then I move to the right of it, enter, and I move back to the point itself, enter. And it finds it for me. And I can do the same thing over here. Second trace 2, move over there, enter, then move to the right of it, enter, then move back to the point itself, enter. Alright? Now you can do minimum or maximum. Since this one doesn't have a minimum, let's look for the maximum. Second trace 4 is maximum. So you move to the left of the highest point, you move to the right of the highest point and hit enter each time, and then you move to the center and hit enter. And it gives you your answer. Now, -1.159 e -6, that's actually -0.000001. That's incredibly close to 0, so that's really saying 0.4. Alright, now if you wanted to do minimum, you'd have to hit second trace and do 3, and you do it the same way. Now intersect, which is number 5, I've got to draw another line up there, so let's do, I don't know, x subtract 5. Okay, so it graphs this guy. Let's try and see the whole screen by hitting zoom 6. Okay, and here comes our line. So we got two different places we can find intersections. Second trace 5 will do it for you. You just move towards one intersection point and hit enter 3 times. There's one of them. Second trace 5, move to the other one and hit enter 3 times, and you find your intersection. Now if you want to do a table, you just hit second window and you set up what your table should be. If you want it to start at 0 and to go up by 1, that's what you do, 0, 1. So your table starts at 0 and goes up by increments of 1. And you can go into the negative numbers just by arrowing up if you want.